welcome to Book Breakdown.
Did you know that the desire for more positive experience is itself a negative experience? Welcome to part 1 of our deep dive into the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Yeah, we're dissecting the pretty controversial mandate at the heart of this global phenomenon. This is a text that it challenges the entire foundation of modern self-help. It basically asserts that our whole pursuit of happiness is fundamentally flawed.
And that is the absolute core of our debate today. Is the author's main idea, this don't try philosophy, is it a revolutionary path to a more meaningful life? Or is it just, well, a pessimistic trap that kills positive ambition?
And that's where we stand. I'm going to argue that embracing struggle and, rejecting that superficial happiness is the only real way to mature and make progress. Before we start this debate, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this controversial series.
And I'll be challenging that. I think if you're not careful, this don't try idea can lead straight to passivity, maybe even a cynical view of self-improvement when it's genuinely needed.
Okay, so my position really comes from this observation that our culture it's obsessed with these unrealistic positive expectations. Be happier, be healthier, be richer, be better than everyone else. And the author, Manson, he points out this is completely counterproductive because it focuses our attention on what we lack.
Right. The constant reminder of our own shortcomings.
Exactly. It's a constant stream of you're not good enough.
I'll grant you the toxicity of that, especially with social media. But let's get to the core of it. Why is focusing on what we lack so self-destructive? Why doesn't it just, motivate us?
Because it triggers what the book calls the backwards law. And this is the foundational concept here. The idea is, the more desperately you pursue feeling better, the less satisfied you become. The act of chasing that positive feeling only reinforces the reality that you don't have it. It's like if you stand in front of a mirror repeating, "I am beautiful," you're really just screaming at your brain, "I don't feel beautiful." The pursuit of happiness, it just highlights the loneliness.
Okay, that's a powerful critique of, let's call it, aspirational thinking. But my problem is, this philosophy seems to lump everything together. How do we separate a genuine, healthy ambition, like wanting to finish a PhD or save for a house, from the destructive, empty pursuit of vanity? Does don't try just mean give up?
No, and that's the key distinction. It all comes down to motivation. I mean, look at the Charles Bukowski example that opens the whole book. He was this deadbeat poet. His success didn't come from trying to become a winner or some model citizen. It came from him just accepting his reality as a failure, an alcoholic, and writing about it with brutal honesty.
So comfort with failure is the secret ingredient?
It is. His epitaph, "Don't try," it isn't a call to do nothing. It's a call to stop pretending. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to pretend the struggle isn't real.
See, I find that reading of Bukowski a bit reductive. I don't buy that his genius came just from accepting he was a loser. I mean, the man had to persist. He wrote for 30 years with constant rejection. That takes immense, sustained effort. That's trying. So, if the philosophy really asks you to just accept being average, where does the motivation for that kind of high-level achievement come from? It starts to sound like a justification for mediocrity.
You're framing "don't try" as an argument against discipline. It's not. It's an argument against entitlement. The book suggests that people who value self-acceptance, they don't try to manufacture confidence. They just are persistent because they value the act itself, not the validation it might bring.
Okay, but how does the average person who's just bombarded by Instagram perfection get past that crippling fear of not measuring up? That's where this feedback loop from hell you mentioned comes in, right?
Precisely. That's the self-reinforcing loop. You get anxious about being anxious.
Right. Or you feel guilty about feeling guilty.
Exactly. You get pissed off at yourself for getting pissed off. I mean, our ancestors felt shame or worry, and they just got back to plowing the field. Now we feel bad about feeling bad. And that self-awareness just spirals into neuroses, amplified by everyone else's curated, amazing life online.
So the solution is what? Just ignore it?
No, the solution presented is radical acceptance. You break the loop by just accepting the negativity, by saying, you know what, I feel like shit, but who gives a fuck? It short-circuits the neurotic thinking right there.
Okay, but this is where we have to bring in subtlety number one, which Manson himself points out. Not giving a fuck is not the same as being indifferent.
Not at all.
Because indifferent people are, as he puts it, lame and scared. So if the goal isn't indifference, how do you actively choose to care about the right things without just becoming a cynic? It seems really important to distinguish between avoiding that destructive loop and, say, avoiding a necessary confrontation or difficult emotional work.
The choice is everything. It brings us right to the heart of it. Effort allocation. You have a limited stock of fucks to give. If you're not indifferent, you're just saving them for what actually matters. Family, purpose, your core values. He chose his struggle.
That reframing is essential, I agree, because if the book was just arguing for total passivity, it'd be useless. But that brings me to the next big claim. Happiness is a problem. If life is just one big struggle, shouldn't we at least try to minimize the unnecessary pain?
But that's missing the point. Happiness isn't the absence of problems. It comes from solving problems. Life is struggle. Trying to avoid pain is itself a form of suffering. The avoidance of struggle is a struggle.
Okay.
Think about the physical fitness analogy he uses. The pain you choose in the gym, the sweat, the exhaustion, that results in better health. Everything worthwhile is won by surmounting the negative experience tied to it.
The gym analogy is good because that pain is transactional. It's for a goal. But is the message that we must actively choose suffering or just accept that our goals will involve suffering? There's a subtle difference there. If we start celebrating difficulty for its own sake, we're getting into pretty masochistic territory.
Well, you have to separate productive pain from neurotic pain. The pain of an honest conversation in a relationship builds trust. The pain of risking capital as an entrepreneur leads to growth. That pain is a tool. The real problem starts when we try to get rid of all negative experiences, because then we get rid of the tools for growth.
Okay, but let's look at the old lady fighting over a 30-cent coupon. The book uses her as an example of someone with nothing better to care about. Her intense focus on something so trivial, it shows a lack of a meaningful struggle, not the choice of a bad one. Her existential bucket is empty. So doesn't that prove my point? We should be trying to eliminate trivial struggles by filling our lives with positive goals.
And you've just hit on subtlety number 2. To not give a fuck about adversity, you first have to give a fuck about something more important than adversity. The old woman's problem isn't the coupon, it's that she has no meaningful struggles left. So her energy, her fucks, they get misallocated to something totally meaningless.
So the choice is inescapable? The person complaining about the TV remote is only doing that because they haven't found a worthy struggle? I could accept that. It forces a certain kind of accountability.
It forces humility, which brings us to maybe the most jarring chapter title. You are not special.
Yeah, and I find that one deeply problematic. I mean, if the message is that life is mostly ordinary and we're not special, what's the motivation for high-level achievement? Are we just promoting mediocrity by tearing down this idea of exceptionalism?
The goal isn't to kill aspiration, it's to kill entitlement. This tyranny of exceptionalism he talks about is a direct product of the social media highlight reel. You see the Ferraris, the billion-dollar apps, and it creates this debilitating sense that you deserve all of that without the work.
That entitlement is definitely a sickness. I'll give you that.
And so accepting that you are fundamentally ordinary, it's liberating. It takes the pressure off. You don't have to be a world-changing genius. Maturity is realizing that most of life is average jobs, average relationships. When you stop chasing the illusion of greatness, you can actually focus on mastering the ordinary things that bring real meaning.
But if greatness is an illusion, what about Manson's own story? Quitting a finance job to move to South America and start a business. That's a massive, non-passive act. It required a belief that his path mattered more than security. Doesn't that require some kind of internal belief that your purpose is, in a way, special, even if the results are ordinary?
It requires a highly refined focus, not a belief in your own specialness. He didn't give a fuck about the social validation of a finance career because he gave a much bigger fuck about the struggle of building something himself. The freedom comes from defining success on your own terms, based on your values, not by comparing yourself to others.
So the real tension is between internal acceptance, of our own averageness and the external action required to pursue things we value. It's about recognizing, like subtlety number 3 says, that you are always choosing what to care about.
And that choice requires discipline. The risk is that people hear you're not special and take it as permission for laziness or self-pity.
I can concede that the critical insight here is learning to reserve our limited fucks for what's truly important. It forces an intellectual rigor on how we choose our values.
Absolutely. This discussion shows this book is way more than simple self-help. It's a direct challenge to how we measure a meaningful life. And we've barely scratched the surface here.
We really have. There's a lot more to unpack.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the subscribe button on Book Breakdown right now to catch part 2.
We'll be diving into the value of suffering and confronting our own mortality as the ultimate guide for defining what's truly worth caring about. Hit the subscribe button on Book Breakdown right now to catch part 2.